So yesterday with Tyson Fury announcing his quote-unquote retirement, let's see how long that lasts. It does leave you questioning, right, well, what's going to happen with Anthony Joshua? Because as we know, Anthony Joshua, he said on interviews in Nigeria, he also said at the Ring Magazine Award show on Saturday night that 2025, he knows he's near the end. He knows he hasn't got the greatest amount of time left. And look, as the words he used was he wants to go out with a bang. And going out with a bang is, in his mind, going and fighting Tyson Fury. Finally, I could say put the rivalry to bed, because there's been a rivalry pretty much since Anthony Joshua. I want to say really since kind of 2015 when Anthony, or really 2016 when Anthony Joshua became heavyweight champion when he beat Charles Martin. Because obviously Joshua got a lot of credit, Tyson Fury Joshua really did get a lot of credit for the win over Charles Martin, and Fury was just seen, still at the time, seen as a bit of a joke because, you know, I don't even know why. People just, the perception of Fury was very, very different back then. The roles have kind of switched over the years, but you did see it when AJ was, you know, doing his thing, when he beat Vladimir Klitschko. You even see him bite at Tyson Fury during the time where he told him to get fit. He used more words, but we'll leave them out. And yeah, that rivalry has been going and going and going. We thought several times that we would get the fight. It never happened. And in 2025, look, it's past its sell-by date. Both guys have seen better days. Neither guy is undefeated. Neither guy is a champion. But nevertheless, it still seemed like a big fight, certainly in the UK market, and it would have done well. Now, obviously, Anthony Joshua was carrying on his career, but Tyson Fury apparently, we use the word apparently, isn't. Again, we'll see how long that lasts. I wouldn't even be surprised if, seriously, wouldn't shock me if the day or the week of this card, it's February 22nd card, or maybe if Joshua announces his next fight, he'll come out and say, I'm back in training, I'm back, I'm going to right the wrongs, or, you know, Alexander, you know what Fury is like. Just, you know what he's like. So it does make you wonder what's going to be happening for Anthony Joshua next. Well, Eddie Hearn, in an interview he gave with Seconds Out, has named a series of possible options that could be considered for Anthony Joshua's next fight if Tyson Fury's retirement is in fact sincere. Now, I don't know necessarily, is he ranking these in terms of what's most likely to happen, or just chucking names out there for the sake of it? Because number one, Martin Bakole. Now, I get that fight in a sense of if Turki Al-Sheikh wants to do a show in Africa, and, you know, Derek Chisora has talked about doing a show, well, wants to do his last fight in Zimbabwe. Obviously, Bakole is from the Congo. Joshua is, native country is Nigeria. Would you do it in Zimbabwe, you know, on neutral ground? It would be an absolutely, I mean, in Nigeria, that would be just, honestly, that would be unbelievable. It really, truly would. In terms of the fight itself, though, for Anthony Joshua, oh boy, listen, if I was matchmaking Anthony Joshua and I was looking to potentially bring him back and get some confidence in him, that would not be the fight I'd be looking for. But Turki Al-Sheikh has been mentioning it, so, you know, does Eddie Hearn privy to some of the maybe numbers that's being floated around for that fight? I don't know the ins and outs, but that's number one. Number two, which is a fight that personally for me, if I was matchmaking or managing Anthony Joshua, I would be saying, yeah, let's do it. Because it's, you know, it's a very, very winnable fight, which is Dillian Whyte. Now, again, you can't rehabilitate Joshua the way you tried to do in 23 because he just doesn't have that time. You know, it's 2 years later, he's now 35, so you would have been early 30s at the time, so you could have probably got away with it. Now you're in your mid-30s, can't really, and you've been devastatingly knocked out. You were just outpointed twice by Alexander Usyk. A Dillian Whyte fight, they tried to do that, and Dillian Whyte, we obviously know what happened. If they can get that fight done now, I would say just get it made for Anthony Joshua, because Dillian Whyte, look, Joshua, I think, is past the point of no return. I think his skills are going to start to diminish. His punt resistance is going to be diminished, and he's just not going to look that good in his comeback fight. Having said that, people, I watched Dillian Whyte versus Ebenezer Tete. That was just, whoa. Like, Dillian Whyte has always been slow, but he is, like, I mean, painfully slow. That was not even. And that was against a guy who didn't look 36 years old. My A. Was he 36 years old? He looked old. Even to his body, he just looked old. Ebenezer Tete. And Dylan White couldn't put a dent in him. So I'd be saying, look, that's a knockout if ever I seen one. Do it in the O2. Do it on the Zone. Maybe not as part of Riyadh season. Or maybe do it as a Ring Magazine show in the UK or something like that. It's not a Riyadh fight. Or if it is, it's not a main event in Riyadh. Certainly not. Deontay Wilder. I'll talk about Deontay Wilder in a separate video, why I think that could potentially be likely. I think it could potentially be likely. And at the end of the day, again, similar points in their career. So I wouldn't have too much of an issue with Wilder versus Joshua, truth be told. The winner of Zhang versus Kabayel. If Zhilei Zhang wins the fight, I wouldn't put him in there with Anthony. I wouldn't put Anthony Joshua in with him. Nor would I really put him in with Kabayel. Kabayel could be awkward. He will fancy that. I wouldn't. Look, he has Zhang, the winner of Zhang Kabayel or the winner of Dubois Parker. Listen, I wouldn't put him in with any of them at this point. Certainly not Daniel Dubois. If Daniel Dubois beats Joseph Parker, likelihood is he'll fight Alexander Usyk. I'll talk about Dubois because he's had his few words on Anthony Joshua. Listen, I wouldn't put him in there. Listen, there's only 2 fighters there I would feel confident putting him in there with that he could get the job done, which is Deontay Wilder and Dylan White. The rest of them, even without the results, I wouldn't have confidence in him beating any of them. Certainly not Bacoli and certainly not Dubois. Certainly not those two. No way. Zhang is, again, I know Zhang's getting old, but still, I mean, I seen Zhilei Zhang yesterday. Every time I see him, I'm just like, holy crap. How are you? He is flipping massive and a massive puncher. So they're the opponents. They're really the options for Anthony Joshua at this point now that Tyson Fury has apparently retired. As I've said several times, we will wait and see how long that lasts. Tyson Fury, I'm not going to go in there. I'm not going to do it again. But we know what Tyson Fury is like. We know the type of character he is. It would not even remotely surprise me if Joshua has a fight lined up, if they announce a Dylan White fight, and he decides conveniently to come to negotiation tables and say, okay, I'm back now, let's make the fight, and then they have to kick the... It wouldn't even remotely shock me. That's the kind of character he is. So we're not going to just... We'll talk about that maybe on there. Maybe I'll do a live stream later and we can talk about that a little bit there. But that is my thoughts on Eddie Hearn's reported opponents that he has listed for Anthony Joshua. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Listen, personally for me, if it's not Fury, if it's not Wilder, if it's not White, don't do anything at all. Just call it. That's what I will be saying if I was advising Anthony Joshua. But let me know yours. Hope you enjoyed it, people. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, as always, if you haven't already. And until next time, people, I will leave it there. Peace and love.